Why would the party, with all the money, have to go out swiftboatin'? Hey, my friends, why would the party, with all the money, have to go out swiftboatin'? Well, because they couldn't win otherwise. But I was just trying to point out that with all the swiftboatin' of Bill Clinton, he was still the most popular president of the 20th century. He really was. So the press didn't like him, the right didn't like him, only the people liked him. All right, so you have two really bad presidents. How would you like to be Bill Clinton? Sandwiched between two of the worst presidents ever! The Bushes. Two of the worst president ever. The Bushes. Two of the worst presidents ever.
Once the neocons seized power in that most horrible year 2000.
They began to piddle away the Clinton surplus. Piddle away the Clinton surplus. Don't you hate the way the neocons just took off and began to piddle away the Clinton surplus. Piddle away the Clinton surplus. Piddle away the Clinton surplus. Okay, if you remember nothing else about politics, remember this, that when Republicans are in power, money hemorrhages out of the country.
You lost. Get over it.
You are watching Austin's beloved Perry Logan in
You lost. Get over it. You lost. Get over it.
George W. Bush's was the first administration in world history to out a CIA agent for partisan reasons. These guys, you know the story, it's the Valerie Plame case. Evidently, when neocons are under stress, they forget whose side they're on. The Valerie Plame case, a clear case of Republican treason! Republican treason! Republican treason! The Plame case is Republican treason! Or, neocons are so dumb, they forgot whose side they were on. Neocons are so gosh darn dumb, they forgot whose side they're on. Don't you see the joke? My friend, don't you see the joke of the Valerie Plame case? I said, don't you see the joke of the bloody Valerie Plame case? Neocons are so bloody stupid that when they're under pressure, they forget whose side they're on. Ooh, you lost! Get over it! Well, that's why you lost. Lost? Get used to it. You lost. I get used to it. You lost. I get used to it. I knew the Republic was in trouble. When I first heard about the Plame case, it was pretty clear that neocons are partisan to the point of treason. Neocons are partisan to the point of treason. Or, when they're under pressure, they forget whose side they're on. Same thing, right? George W. Bush is the first American president to lose a major city. To lose a major city. This administration is spying on its people more than any administration since Stalin. Okay, we laugh and we cry. But we all know that the neocons have a kind of a Stalin-like attitude.
Dick, I can't hear you! Dick! 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 Dick, I can't hear you! Dick! 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 Dick!
First president who needs to use a wire. First president on antidepressants. George W. Bush is the first president on antidepressants. George W. Bush has more vacation time than any president ever. Under George W. Bush, we have the first case of espionage in the White House. You lost. Get over it. You lost. Get over it. George W. Bush and his incompetent administration let 9/11 happen. I was going to point out that the Republicans stole the last two presidential elections. It's common knowledge. Well, you see, that means America has voted Democratic in the last four presidential elections. Oh my God! America has voted Democratic in the last four presidential elections. You lost. Get over it. You lost. Get over it. You lost. Get over it. You lost. Bush presided over the biggest energy crises in U.S. history and refused to intervene when corruption was revealed. Bush dissolved more international treaties than any president in U.S. history. Bush is the first president in U.S. history to compel the United Nations to remove the U.S. from the Human Rights Commission. What's that all about? Bush refused to allow inspectors access to U.S. prisoners of war and by default no longer abides by the Geneva Convention. Geneva Convention. George W. Bush set the record for the fewest press conferences of any president since the advent of television. Members of Bush's cabinet are the richest of any administration in U.S. history. Under George W. Bush, we have experienced the largest exodus of career experts in every branch of the administration due to crony appointments. George W. Bush set the all-time record for biggest drop in the history of the stock market. Members of the Bush administration are the richest administration in history. In his first year, George W. Bush set the all-time record for most days on vacation by any president in U.S. history. George W. Bush cut unemployment benefits for more out-of-work Americans than any president in U.S. history. George W. Bush set the all-time record for biggest annual budget spending increases. George W. Bush is the first president in U.S. history to attack a sovereign nation against the will of the United Nations and the world community. You lost. Get over it. You lost. Get over it. You lost. George W. Bush is the first U.S. president to invade another country. He is the first president to have 40% approval ratings less than a year into his second term. George W. Bush is the first president in decades to execute a federal prisoner. George W. Bush set the record for the least amount of press conferences of any president since the advent of television. Bush's is the most secretive and unaccountable of any administration in U.S. history. George W. Bush created the largest government department bureaucracy in the history of the United States. George W. Bush is the first president in U.S. history to refuse United Nations election inspectors. Now, why do you suppose that is? Why do you suppose that is? You lost! Get over it! Yeah, you lost!